There we go.
There we go. All right, we're live. So, let's see. We need to kind of start with a synopsis of the case a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just kind of, I think we're here where the coach has the dilemma for his rowing teams of
Mm-hmm.
how, to make the team performance improve. Um, he kind of got his top groups together, varsity and junior varsity groups together, but when they race one another, the JV one beats the varsity one about 2/3 of the time. And then basically, the coach just tried a bunch of different things to try to understand why or change things up so it gets better. But, right now the varsity team, it's 4 days before the nationals, which they've been kind of preparing for. But
Mm-hmm.
the varsity's, doing worse than ever, really. So
Right.
I decide what action to do to help them
Indeed.
best. Yep. So, let's see. I'm just looking at this because I wasn't planning on being group leader.
No,
Let's
it's
see.
fine. Take your time.
What was your take on the case?
I thought it was at first when I read it, I really had no idea what to do. I was just like, okay, what exactly is the problem? Obviously, junior varsity, they're doing better than the varsity. And there's some pretty obvious problems, but like it was hard to think what would I do to fix it. I don't know much about coaching or anything like that. Um, so one of the key things that I felt at first was that he should switch varsity and JV. Teach varsity a lesson, say, hey, you know what, you're not putting out, so I'm just going to switch you, give these guys the honor. But then I started thinking about it more in depth, and I feel that if he does that, if he switches them, then
Yeah.
that's only going to instill the the mind frame of the varsity team. It's only going to confirm, yeah, you guys really are horrible, and it's just not working. When I think that could have a very negative effect long term, versus working through it, because I think that reinforces that bad behavior.
Yeah. Yep. So, what were your kind of suggestions that you gave? Just curious, because you kind of talked into those. What were your main suggestions?
So, so my first suggestion is that, from what I understand, from what I read, there isn't a clear team leader,
Yep.
like a captain. They talked about the coxman, or I don't know how to say that word,
Yeah.
and I kind of got the impression that they're kind of a leader, mainly because they call out the row, but it wasn't a clear captain, team leader figure. So that was my first suggestion, is to have the whole team appoint one. So it's not like the coach is stepping in. It's
Mm-hmm.
still the team being in control of um, their team and
Yeah.
voting on saying, hey, you know what, everything else aside, and this would be up to the coach, just, talk him into it, say, hey, come on, just choose somebody,
Yep.
come to an agreement, and then we'll move from there. So that
Yeah.
was my first suggestion. Go ahead.
I definitely saw that as a problem, and I kind of had the same idea. I didn't feel like there was much mention about the coxswain as like in the whole entire case. And so
Yeah.
my thought was, the coach needs to definitely inspire the coxswain to be a leader, to give them, and help them, equip them with the tools to help
Right.
them step up, inspire the rest of the team. So I don't know, if that's really too much of an option or, something that's already kind of been exhausted, but there's nothing mentioned hardly about the coxswain at all, even in the team. It makes it
Yeah.
seem like we're talking about the rowers. So I think,
Right.
there needs to be a coxswain as a leader. It's mentioned at the very end of the case, but there's also no natural leader listed for the team. So I
hmm
put they should make the coxswain the natural leader for the rest of the team.
And I think that's smart too. Now that I'm thinking about it, when you're in the boat and you're rowing, you can't really see, 2 3 guys ahead of you. But the coxswain, he kind of can. He has a little bit better view. He can kind of see
Yep.
whose oars sticking up out a little higher or who's dragging. So I think that would be good to make him the leader.
Yep. No, that's a good idea. What other recommendations did you have?
The next one, Um, so in the case, the coach tried to have everybody email each other
Mm-hmm.
and try to, work that way to try and build team leadership, but that kind of backfired. It didn't really work. So what I would do is almost treat them like little children again. I would have them all sit in a circle. It doesn't matter if they're on chairs or on the ground, and have one person stand up and have go around the whole circle and have each team member say something they like about the person standing. And it doesn't have to be about it doesn't have anything to do with the rowing. It could, but just something in the universe that they can agree on that, he has nice hair, whatever it is, just find something.
Yep.
Because I think they're focusing on the negative, but if they could just take a second and focus on the positive, I think that would make a huge shift.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, that's a good one.
What about you? What was your number two?
So my first one was actually to keep the team members together, kind of focus on unity a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Then my second one was to inspire the leader. But the unity, I felt, where that was presented as an option to break up the team a little bit
Right.
and do that, I was like, that's not going to be a good point to go
Mm-hmm.
because with all of that, it's going to definitely break up the teams, destroy morale. So that's my first one. My second one is to inspire the leader. My third one was actually to increase expectations and by switching the varsity and junior varsity boats.
Oh, really?
I thought, where junior varsity, they've gone all year and they feel maybe they lack the recognition.
Mm-hmm.
And the varsity, they've been going and they just don't have a high expectation for themselves. So they're not going to perform
Right.
to that. And the coach doesn't have it either. So they're not going to live up to that. So the right thing to do, I felt, was to switch the boats. And then doing all that, he needs to let them know that that's his expectation. Hey, junior varsity, guess what, guys? You've done great. You've outperformed the varsity almost all year. So you guys are actually going to have a shot at the varsity competition. I'm giving you that because you've earned it. You just,
Mm-hmm.
your performance says it, even though your title doesn't.
Right.
The varsity, I tell them, hey guys, you know what? We're having you do the junior varsity races. Honestly, you've kind of let me down a little bit. I think though in junior varsity though, you'll have a better chance. The
Mm-hmm.
junior varsity team though from our school has earned it, so they're going to be competing in your spot. But you know what, you guys definitely need to go out there, do your best because it's going to be very embarrassing if you're going and then you get beat by the other junior varsity teams.
Yeah.
So you guys, really need to get it together. Here you go, and just kind of inspire them.
Right. Yeah, I was so torn with the idea because I strongly feel that if somebody earned the right to compete on the varsity team, if they're out beating the varsity, then they should have the chance. They've earned it.
Yeah.
And it's not about winning or losing. It's about what's the best for the boys and what's the best outcome. And the only reason I made the choice to keep the varsity and JV in the boats that they're in is simply because I had to make a choice. That took out of this whole case study. That took me the longest was to make a choice on that because I could see it being very positive for the junior varsity. If they came up, and then beat everybody and won the championship, that would be amazing, and it has happened in the history. And then on the other hand, with the varsity, you know, they didn't live up. They didn't live up to the expectations, even though the coach tried everything he could, switching them out, doing all these studies, working with them in the weight room, and they still don't care. One of the biggest red flags for me was the very last team meeting, kind of at the end of the case study, when one guy was just like, I just can't wait for the season to be over. Like, they
Yeah.
are done. Like, mentally, these guys, they're done. Like, I really I don't know if they can come back mentally. In 4 days, I don't know if it's possible.
Yeah.
It would be really difficult.
Yep.
That was kind of my third one is that, so select a team leader and then, set up clear expectations with him, obviously. but then also start praising, having everybody praise each other, and do that activity 2 or 3 times a day, where you sit in a circle and you say what you like about another person. And then my third suggestion was to start teaching these guys that they've got to think as a team. And so this would take a lot of effort from the coach. And so he would sit there with them and maybe even take out the emails that he got and just, kind of read them out loud and said, this isn't what we should be looking at. We should be looking at the team faults and failures instead of the individual. But yeah, I definitely think that there's a lot of work, and I don't know if 4 days is enough to whip these guys.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I got.
Okay, yeah, so we had kind of some similar ideas, some a little bit different. With all the things that have kind of been put in place by the coach, do you feel like anything was like definitely more successful or less successful than another?
Or do you mean like switching people in boats, or
doing the tests, to determine who goes in which boats?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. So it sounds like the tests that they did were more based on physical versus physical and personality. I think if I
Yeah.
think if early on they could have identified that, hey, we're grouping 8 guys together where there's disruptors, bunch of disruptors, and no team leader. I think if they had identified that right up front and had it be part of the process of choosing who goes in what boats, I think that would have made a little bit of a difference, maybe even the swing difference.
Yeah. Yep. No, I think, switching people definitely didn't work. Well, I
Yeah.
think the things he did to test them out was good, but he mainly tested their physical abilities. I like how the case mentions that the 4 things important for it are the where is it at? Strength, their
Mhm.
technique, the psychological, and then the program.
Right.
So I think there's definitely a lack of maybe importance placed on the psychological by the aspect by the coach,
Hmm.
and maybe even a little bit with the program with the way things that are structured. Um,
Definitely.
so
It
those are
kind
my
of
thoughts.
kind of blows my mind. How long have they been doing this? And they just expect to throw 8 guys together and hope it works. Like,
Yep.
I don't know. But
Yeah. One thing it says to do too is to pull up the case and share with them how things turned out. So
does it have an ending?
it does somewhere. I'm trying to look for it on the internet. Like I just access this now. I'm trying to find a result. I think maybe if we spend a couple minutes maybe looking for that.
Yeah, let's do that. Because that was I made a choice and I spent a lot of time thinking about it and coming up with ideas and
Yep.
researching my background to support. And so yeah, I would really like to see what happens. There's a part of me that wants to see the team switched, and I want to see JV just take it all.
Yep.
I'm logging into the school's website right now so I can pull it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to find something. Yeah, I'm not finding it though.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is I'm going to try Googling Harvard Business School case studies number 4-0 or no 9-403. Just go with the case number.
There you go. Yeah, I'm actually looking at Wikipedia right now. So UC won the gold in 2002. It looks like.
Is that
That's
our?
what,
Is
that's
that the
what
year where?
Wikipedia says.
Okay, let's see. Slow internet.
Yep.
Oh, what? I have to purchase it? Wow, 22 pages. Yeah, there was definitely some information that was left off.
I'm glad we don't have to read that much of it, though.
Oh, I know. Holy cow.
I've been reading so many cases and stuff.
They all become one big blur, don't they?
Oh, there's so much.
Oh, that's bad.
So it looks like American Collegiate Rowing is the actual association.
Okay.
But they go from 2014 down to 2008 is all it's showing.
Oh. Yeah, so on the actual Harvard Business School's website, to access this, you have to purchase. Wait,
That's lame.
that is lame. So I don't know exactly. I was hoping that by using the password from the professor, it would unlock the other half of the case study.
Yeah, that would be nice.
No, I honestly don't know what else to do.
Yep, I don't know where else to find it. It's in May.
Yeah, well,
I'm not finding anything. Maybe would have gone a long ways to maybe put a link in there for us to follow to get to the actual results.
yeah.
I'm just not seeing them. All right. So I think we've pretty much covered, the big things in it.
Okay.
I think, I don't know if my suggestion was the best to have the boat switch roles. I don't know. Maybe we can kind of talk about that, what the best course of action is, and maybe come with a consensus on that a little bit.
Well, so
Like, what's your opinion on having them switch teams, like switch boats?
um, it's more of a fear. I'm afraid that the varsity team might take it too personal, but the more I think about it, these are grown men. So
Not just grown
yeah,
men; they're trained officers too.
exactly. They can kind of handle when they're beat. When they know they're beat, it's not as detrimental. The other thing that I keep thinking about is, they don't even want to be on this team. They don't even want to be there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've worked with, in the church, I've worked with a couple different groups, and one of them was kind of like this, where they were just checked out. They were done with scouting. It was a pain, and everything I did just didn't work. And so I kind of, I can kind of see that just switching them, it may be the best option.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, also, maybe getting the team, pumped up and getting the varsity team kind of prepared mentally and just kind of, doing a wake-up call. I could see that having an impact as well. It's just hard to know what's best to do there.
Well, if you think about it, if you switched them and you had a little heart to heart with the varsity team, you sat them down and you said, "Listen, you guys have been demoted. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. You didn't perform. I cannot have you race as varsity. Here's your redemption chance. You're being given the chance to race against junior varsity people. You're stronger than them. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to lose to all of them, or are you going to step up?" So it's kind of like a slap in the face, and then instead of just a slap in the face and the season, it's a slap in the face. Here's another chance to earn your honor back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I like that a lot. Because like you said, these are trained officers. And these are grown men. So, when you sit them down and say, "Hey, you messed up," I think they listen better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what are they going to expect next year? You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's kind of another, I don't know. I feel like the world is kind of getting a little too soft. They're handing out things, awards and medals, and advancing people who aren't ready. And I don't think they're doing anybody a favor. Like in school when they just, if a kid is clearly failing, they don't hold him back a grade when maybe they should. Maybe he'd take it more seriously.
Yep. No, definitely. So, yeah, I think, maybe switching the boats would give them, a better shot, or at least be well deserved for the junior varsity team.
Mm-hmm.
What I read actually says that they don't compete like on that same level. Like it's more of like a promotion or demotion, but it's not like there's a junior varsity league and a varsity league. I think only the one boat gets represented.
Oh, really?
I think from just looking up for the the results and stuff. So that might have be the case where, hey, varsity, you don't get a play, you don't get a race because you guys suck, and here you go, junior varsity, you guys are beating them, so here it is, here's your shot, you deserved it. I think 4 days though is very, very short notice though.
Well, I think the varsity team knows it's coming. I don't think it would be a shell shock for any of them. I think it would be more of a shock to the junior varsity team than it would be for the varsity. Because I think the varsity, they know there's a big problem, and they know that it's not being solved. They know that they're just spinning their wheels and nothing's going anywhere. So if the coach just said, "Hey, we're switching you guys, and this is why," I don't think they'd be shocked.
Yeah. That it's kind of interesting too to see how the junior varsity teams, chant is nothing to lose,
Yeah.
That kind of rubs it in the varsity team's face that, hey, we've got nothing to lose. If we lose, we're supposed to be worse than you.
Right.
Yep. I'm actually following a link right now that the case gave to usrowing.org to maybe just see if we can find the results. And
Okay.
I don't know if we're going to be able to did, but I don't see anything. All right. Well, anyways, I think that's it. Do you have anything else?
No, I think we did a good job. I think we were pretty thorough. I think we looked at a lot of different angles.
Yep. All right. Well, let's just plan next week at the same time, right?
Yeah. No, that's great.
And I'll email Marissa just saying, hey, we missed you.
I think it'd be good to send her the link so that she could look over it and listen to what we talked about.
Yeah, no, that'd be good. And then we have those evaluations today as well. So, or this week, actually.
Right.
But
The
you just want to plan on being group leader next week, unless positive she'll be here.
Yeah,
Dang.
definitely.
All right. Well, sounds great. We'll see you next week at 6.
Yeah, I appreciate you stepping up and taking care of business tonight. Thank you.
No problem. Yep. Okay, bye.
All right, bye.